Hello there everybody, this is Krista and welcome back to Curiosities Tarot, and you will have to forgive my voice today, because it has just suddenly left us. It has left the building. Anyways, I wanted to do a VR today to the hashtag top 10 deck pairings put out by Meg from Art Garden Oracle. Such a fun video, I loved watching hers, and I saw this on Danny from Danny Mystic's channel, and I love a good deck pairing. So I wanted to show some that I've been loving recently, because I do that series, deck speed dating, where I try to find pairs for decks I'm having a hard time pairing, but there's some that they just happen, and I love it. So let's get into it, because we've got 10 whole pairings to show. Now speaking of my deck speed dating, we're going to start with one that came about from that video that I have been so continuously obsessed with, and that is the Compendium of Witches Oracle with the Soulcat Tarot. This is seriously like a match that is meant to be. The art styles go so incredibly well together. And since that video, of course, I've been reading with the two decks, and actually let's give a full scope here. Oh no, that's a glare. Eek! Oh well, I don't know how to deal with that right now. So we're not gonna. How I've been reading with them is breaking up the Compendium of Witches into, no, that's gonna bother me. Come on, okay, whatever. Breaking up the Compendium of Witches into the witches and like the witches' tools, symbols. I don't really know what they call it in this deck. I should figure that out, but I shan't. And so I pull one card from each of these, and then usually two Soulcat cards, and look at how beautiful these all look together, right? And they just really, really speak to each other so well. I think what I love about this pairing is we've got the Compendium of Witches, and it almost feels like, you know, a witch, the classic familiar we see is a cat. And so it almost feels like this team, we're getting this very magical team of these witches and their cats. And these cats are also set in a very magical world. They're not, you know, realistic cats per se. So it really brings you into this magical world, and no part of this reading is going to take you out of it. It really feels like these witches and their tools and their kitty familiars. And I just don't know if I will ever stop being obsessed with these decks together, because how good is that? If you have these two decks, totally try it out. It's a good one. So that is the Compendium of Witches Oracle and the Soulcat's Tarot. Okay, next up from my very precarious pile of decks going on here. Oh, excuse me. Oh my goodness, my voice. We've got, hold on, we gotta clear that throat. Okay, I spared you all from that noise. Anyways, the Hellenic Oracle with the Mystic Masters Tarot. So these just happen to be a tarot tube creator powerhouse. Because this, if you are unfamiliar, is the Hellenic Oracle, created by Thea at Garden Goddess Tarot. And she's doing the most amazing Hellenic Oracle, like 101, through her membership. It is so exciting. It has been so exciting. And this is the Mystic Masters Tarot from Danny Mystic. Let's take some of these cards off. And I just really love the kind of real, like, high art vibe of these two decks together. I feel like this pairing brings me into a very different kind of magical space, where the Compendium of Witches and Soulcats feels very like a very fantasy magical space. This feels a little bit more grounded in reality in a way. Because all of this art, you know, I mean, well, every art is created by a person. What was I gonna say there? I don't know what I meant by that. I was gonna say these pieces of art were made by people. Anyways, I think what I'm trying to get at, actually, is all of this is very, like, historic art. And with Danny's deck, she kind of, you know, added her own details over it, recolored, all that. And Thea put these pieces of art into the lens of Greek gods and goddesses and just the whole shebang there. And something about them paired together, it just really feels like a very spiritual experience. I think that's the difference I'm getting at there. Where Compendium of Witches and Soulcats feels very like witchy magic, this feels like a spiritual experience to me. And I think it helps that both Thea and Danny just are very spiritual, magical people. Like, they just have that vibe to them. But I also just think aesthetically these really are beautiful together. And I've been loving these decks together. So that is the Hellenic Oracle with the Mystic Masters Tarot. Next up, we've got the pairing I've been so obsessed with all of September so far, basically, so don't be surprised if I'm repeating myself in my favorites video, but that is the Seasons of the Witch Mabon Oracle paired with the Midnight Magic Tarot. These, oh my gosh, are so amazing together. They just look so beautiful. It definitely helps that I am just so obsessed with this oracle. I think it is so fantastic. Like, I am kind of making the transition to the Seasons of the Witch Samhain, but I almost, like, found myself not really wanting to stop with this one just yet, so I've kind of just been using both. And look at this tarot next to this oracle. Oh my goodness, is that not so beautiful? Hold on, I gotta fix that lighting. This is not a glossy deck, and we're just glaring. Okay, we were just too bright. We're just too bright, you know? It happens. That's, you know, it's not perfect, but it's better. Anyway, look at this. I feel like videos like these, it's just me continuously saying, look at this, check this out. But I think there is really something so good about this pairing. I think what it is the Mabon Oracle feels very, of course, September to me, because that's when the holiday takes place, but September is a prime mushroom season. That's really when they are out to play, kind of like end of August, all of September is when you're going to find the good mushrooms. So it just made sense logically to me to pair these decks, which is why I tried it in the first place. And then seeing this artwork together, oh, it's just so good. I really love how the black backgrounds of this tarot really brings out a lot of the kind of shadows and darkness that comes up in this oracle. And then it really matches with all the really, like, warm autumnal colors. It's very warm and earthy and just feels so well suited to this time of year. I used these two decks for my Mabon reading, which you will see my kind of journal set up for that reading in my monthly favorites vlog situation, whatever it is I call that, I'm not remembering. Look, and look, the foraging card, they're foraging mushrooms. How cool is that? Isn't it not so good? So yeah, I really loved adding this layer, and I love too how, like, this tarot really explains each of the mushrooms that's shown on the card. It just really brought it into that kind of, like, green witch, cottage witch vibe even more, and that's kind of what I feel from this oracle. So really, really loved this pairing this month so much. This is the Seasons of the Witch Mabon with the Midnight Magic Tarot. Alright, and speaking of Cottage Witch vibes, casual transition, another pairing I love this time of year, just love in general, all year, honestly, is the Cottage Witch Oracle with the Walking Meditation Tarot. I feel like every time I pull the Cottage Witch out, it's like, I feel like a mom being like, have you met my daughter yet? Have you met her? She's really great. Oh, anyway, so I think, well, I know where this pairing started for me is when I first got my first physical printed copy of Cottage Witch. I brought it on a family trip we go on every year. It's actually coming up. We go next, not this coming weekend, but the one after. I brought it with me there because it's just a magical place, and I went there to take my pictures, my first pictures of this deck, and at the same time I got in this deck, so this also came there with me. So that is kind of what birthed this pairing last year, and it just was such a cool experience because, you know, it's the first deck I made, my first time holding the physical copy, and having this tarot come in that just paired so perfectly with it was so cool. I really love how, you know, with the Cottage Witch Oracle, it's all based around my own personal practice that is very, very nature season based. So I really love how it brings in these vintage images and then pairs it with these more like photographic, realistic images that cover all of the seasons. Because right now, the Cottage Witch Oracle covers a lot of the seasons. I said I was kind of like done making expansions for now, but already I'm like, ooh, do I make a fall one? I don't know. Anyway, disregard. But I really love how these visually pair. Because I just feel like the Cottage Witch also breaks up these cards nicely. Not that they look really beautiful together, but I feel like sometimes it can just be, because we kind of jump from season to season, it can be a little visually confusing to me, all placed together. So I tend to really like pulling two cards from this deck with an oracle in the middle, and this just does the trick every time. I just really love these two decks together. They read so well together as well. I really admire, these are by, this deck is by Danielle Norman, and I just really admire what she has shared about her practice as well. I feel like we have a lot of similarities there, so just really cool to pair these together. I just love how it looks. One more, because I have to. Oh, so good, so good. So that is the Cottage Witch Oracle with the Walking Meditation Tarot. Next up, we've got the lovely Lilac Lenormand. What is my mouth doing? The Lilac Lenormand by the one and only Logan from Larkin Legend. This is now on Kickstarter and is doing so well. I'm so excited for them. But yes, the Lilac Lenormand with the Boo Tarot. We've got a Lenormand pairing here. I think I'm going to do a video soon all about how I pair Lenormand, because that's mostly how I use it. And I really enjoyed doing that. But this is just a perfect match. For the sake of consistency visually, I suppose, we're just going to put the Lenormand in the middle with the tarot on the sides, but generally when I'm pairing Lenormand, I still will pull at least two cards. And I mentioned this in my supplementary deck video. But when I do it this way, the Lenormand kind of acts as a supplementary deck in this way. But look how stinking cute these are together. Oh my gosh, I just think the art styles match up so perfectly. The Lilac Lenormand to me, because it has this very like Sailor Moon, Studio Ghibli type vibe, which to me I always associate with like cute creepy, pairs so well with the Boo Tarot for that reason, which is, it's not creepy, it's cute, but like creepy in sense of like Halloween vibes, you know? And the colors work so well together. We get a lot of the light purple in the Boo Tarot that matches with our lilac in the Lilac Lenormand, and I just think they work so well together. And considering the Boo Tarot to me is pretty much like a RWS clone. I don't really use the guidebook with it per se. So those kinds of decks are the ones I actually really like having a kind of supplementary card to the most. So if I'm pulling out Lenormand to add to my readings, my Tarot Oracle reading, most of the time I'm doing it with a deck that is pretty straightforward to me and I don't really use the guidebook for, or doesn't really have like a guidebook outside of just standard RWS meanings, if that makes any sense. But oh my gosh, I could look at this all day. How cute! Isn't this so cute? Oh, I love it. It really is that like, what's that term, like pastel goth? Which it's not like pastel goth, it's just because of the colors. But sometimes, you know, in the midst of Halloween season, when you're just drenched in the black, orange, gray, sometimes you need to bring in that purple and the pastels and have a little pastel Halloween. I love it! Oh, it's so good. So that is the Boo Tarot and the Lilac Lenormand. And the Boo Tarot I honestly use all year round. It doesn't even really, like, it doesn't feel like a Halloween deck to me. This is like, these are my all year ghosts. Because ghosts exist all year, you know? I feel like they don't just like go away. Anyways, the Lilac Lenormand and the Boo Tarot. Okay, this next one is one I've been using for quite some time now too, and that is the Mysteries of the Black Madonna paired with the Influence of the Angels Tarot. Now, I didn't originally pair this because of the like Mary Angel association, because that's not really something I necessarily work with. Angels in general, I don't really work with. I just really liked the art of this deck, and I can appreciate the sentiment, I suppose. I don't know what I'm saying there. I originally paired them because, hold on, let's show, not talk. Because of how well I thought. Let's remove some cards there. The gold label and just the gold going on in the Mysteries of the Black Madonna matched this border. And then it just, you know, obviously we've got a Mary deck, so angels in some fashion are gonna go. And I just really, really love how these two decks read together. To me, it feels like, with this, the Influence of the Angels showing these earthly figures joined by an angel somewhere in the card, for the most part. We have some cards that are just angels, but really brings the Mysteries of the Black Madonna down to earth to me, where it's kind of like we're getting this really big divine guidance energy here. And then this tarot alongside it sort of feels like it acts like this conduit in a way, where it's like these angel figures are bringing down the message from here to this earthly plane. And this has been my favorite pairing with the Mysteries of the Black Madonna. It really feels like this, heavier is not the right word, but more intense, I suppose, spiritual experience. It's a reading that I'm gonna sit with for quite some time usually. Not always, but a lot of the time. And I just really feel like these decks pair, I mean, visually, they're beautiful, no? I think so. Which is why I'm showing them. But I really like how the energy works here of like this very big, intense, divine energy that I pick up from the Black Madonna with these cards that feel like the purpose is to bring it to the kind of everyday earthly plane. How it's like the how do I take the message here and bring it into my everyday life? That's what I feel like this tarot serves to do. So I've been really, really loving these two together. Those are the Mysteries of the Black Madonna with the influence of the Angels Tarot. Our next pairing is a bit more of a recent one for me, but I've just been really, really liking it. That is the Raven's Dream Tarot paired with the Oracle of Oddities. I really love the space that this oracle gives to these cards. This is MJ Cullinane's latest tarot deck, and she does all of her art in this really cool collage style. And generally, there's a lot going on in each of the cards. So with her decks, I always like to have something in the center that is a bit more sparse. And this oracle has just been so perfect. It has a lot of the, like when there is some pops of color, it matches the colors going on in these cards. I really like too how this oracle is just straightforward keywords. There's no guide or anything. It's just, you're just going off the keyword, because the tarot, each of the cards goes into, you're following this one raven's dream world, really. So it goes into what's happening. Each card is a different dream the raven is having. So there's a lot to get into there. So I really appreciate that not only visually does it kind of give some breathing room, but also within the context of getting into the reading, the guidebook focus can be on the tarot. And then I feel like the oracle gives a true focal point of, okay, how do I kind of get to the point of these two cards combined? What should I be focusing on here? And you can get that from your keyword. So with Two of Swords and the High Priestess, we have anxiety in the middle. You know, not really knowing the story behind those two cards, just going off of the rote meaning in my own head. You know, with Two of Swords being kind of like a crossroads, having to make a choice. The High Priestess being this mystery and the unknown. We've got anxiety in the middle of maybe you're stuck not making a choice because of the anxiety over the unknown, not really feeling that trust that things will happen how they're supposed to. Really interesting. Eight of Cups, Hanged Man, and Life. Walking away from something, changing your perspective in order to walk away from something, being this, it feels like a renewal of life. Just really enjoying these two together. I just think they're great. Ooh, the Star, Ten of Pentacles with Eternity. I mean, how cool is that? And again, like, the visual is so good. It's so good. So, that is the Oracle of Oddities. I have the first and third editions, I want to say. I don't really remember. I don't have all three. I've got two of them. Anyways, and the Raven's Dream Tarot. Next, we've got another old favorite, and that is the Celtic Spirit Oracle with the Wildwood Tarot. This is my trimmed version, which is not really my usual reading version, but I think I just, honestly, I couldn't immediately find the other one. I think it's in my storage bench that I am filming on top of right now, and I already had it set up, so it doesn't really matter, I guess, but there's my explanation. But I really love how these two read together, and I think they work really well visually. And actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I do think the trimmed looks a little better with this oracle. But I use to me, this pairing didn't come about really because of the visuals. It was the subject matter, because they both have this real, like, green spiritual energy to them. This is an energy, for some reason, I really like getting into in the winter time. It's very, very Celtic based, which for my own practice is where I draw a lot of things from. I feel like if I were to connect with a, like, specific kind of practice, slap a label on it kind of thing, a lot of the Celtic beliefs just work for me. And so I really enjoy these two decks together because they really are very, like, Celtic druid inspired. And they just really feel of the same world. And for some reason, like, the energy in the wintertime of using these decks to go into what feels like this magical spiritual forest, and again, if they feel very much of the same, they come from the same place, it's just so good. For some reason, that's the energy I feel in the wintertime, and I really, really love how these two work together. I use them together for a lot of specific deity work I do. And they're so good. They're so good together. I do also love the Wildwood with the Old Ways Magic, but I think visually these work a little bit more for me, and it feels more like I can really read with these like every single day. Sometimes Old Ways Magic, I can use it as an everyday read, but I like to use those draws more, or the cards as like a single card draw for like the week or the month or something like that. I don't know, for whatever reason. But I love these two decks together. Aren't they so beautiful together? And so if I am wanting to get into that Celtic druid vibe, these are the decks I'm bringing out. Love them so much. So this is the Celtic Spirit Oracle and the Wildwood Tarot. Again, this is a trimmed copy. I completely took off the borders. I've got another that is untrimmed so that I can riffle shuffle it because, I don't know, I'm extra. Moving on. Next, we've got the Coastal Curiosities Oracle. And honestly, it was really hard for me to choose a favorite pairing for this deck because I think it just works so beautifully with so many of my decks. This is like, I mean, it probably is my favorite oracle, solidly. So, just, like, I pull it out because I love it so much all the time, but also it's like, it's just an amazing fallback of, like, I want to be working with this tarot, I don't know what to pair with it. 9 times out of 10, this works. So it was really hard to choose a favorite pairing, so I went with the one I just have been liking a lot lately, and that is with the Serpent and Peacock Tarot. This is the latest art edition that came out. It's so gorgeous. I love the larger size of the cards. Everything about it is just, I mean, it's an art edition, you know? It is so high quality and just beautifully done. But I love how these go together. I feel like the Coastal Curiosity really breaks up all the stuff happening in these Serpent and Peacock cards, because it can feel a little bit busy sometimes. This is definitely one I like to break up with something in the middle. But having the Coastal Curiosities also be a collage deck, it feels like I'm not shying away from the little bit of chaos. For some reason, with the Serpent and Peacock, using something like really pared down just doesn't, it doesn't work for me. I don't know why, because usually that's always what I am craving with a busier deck, but the Coastal Curiosities is always what I want to use with this tarot, and they pair so, so well. And this is another one. I love the guidebook in this is the 2nd edition Coastal Curiosities, and I do read it, but I don't have to. The keywords are very, very straightforward. and the Serpent and Peacock has a lot to get into with the guidebook. So sometimes I really don't get into the guidebook of Coastal Curiosities when I'm using these two together, because it really feels more like the keyword ties these two cards together. And I just think they're such a beautiful pairing. I really, really like it. Again, I feel like Coastal Curiosities, it just pairs with, like, everything for me, but lately this has been the pairing. Look at that. How pretty is that? I love it. Cannot wait for the Peculiar Path Tarot. That, why am I blanking on her name? Oh no! Because I always want... It's for some... Does anyone else do this where it's like you fully know someone's name, but like in your head you're just like say their username? It's Hello Ively. Lennox. Yes, because I'm always like, oh gosh, I love their name so much. I think Lennox is such a cool name, but in my head, because when I go to tag her in my posts, I'm always like, Hello Ively, Hello Ively. That in my brain has converted that their name is Hello Ively, which is not true at all. Lennox. Lennox is coming out with the Peculiar Path Tarot, and they teased yesterday that they might be putting it onto Kickstarter really soon, and I cannot wait. I'm so excited. So, this is the Coastal Curiosities Oracle paired with the Serpent and Peacock Tarot. Last but not least, we have my most recent favorite pairing, and that is the Earthly Souls and Spirits Moon Oracle paired with the Practical Magic Inner Witch Tarot. Oh my gosh, this for the fall and for spooky season, so good. I can't stop using them together. They just give the perfect witchy feel, because that's really what I am craving this time of year. I want it to feel spooky and witchy, and this deck does all the above for me. And I really love, because the Oracle cards, it's not busy, but like the artwork is, how would you describe that? Kind of, not abstract, but there's a lot going on with the artwork, like texturally. And so pairing it with this tarot that is more pared down just works so well. And again, we've got these black backgrounds that really bring out the shadows well in these cards. And it just is such a cool, for lack of better word, I keep just using this word, but just a cool witchy vibe to this pairing. It really feels so like fun and spooky. And I'm having so much fun using these two decks together. It really feels like a full magical experience. Look at that, like, doesn't that just make you smile? I love being brought into a magical world in the way these two decks paired together specifically do. So I have a feeling already that this is just gonna be my most used pairing for October. Even though they're really not like spooky, and I love my spooky decks for October, but I think probably for the entirety of the dark half of the year too, this is gonna be the pairing. I just love them. I love them together so much. I can't recommend enough. And this is the I know there's an indie version that was out, but this is the US Games. I really like it. I think it's really great. Not that I know the indie one, but I don't know, I think they did a good job. I love that it's a little bit over tarot sized, so you can really see the artwork. I just think it's really well done. So this has been a total favorite since I put these two together recently. I can't recommend enough. So that is the Earthly Souls and Spirits Moon Oracle with the Practical Magic Inner Witch Tarot, and that is my last pairing to show you today. So I would love to hear what pairings you all are loving recently, and I will link Meg's original video below for you to check out if you haven't seen it. And other than that, I hope you all are having a wonderful week, and I'll see you again very soon.